everybody. Really hope you enjoyed the wild animal themed books today. Thank you so much again for joining me and for watching. It's always a pleasure being with you and reading to you. Please comment on the videos as always and let me know what you think of the pics. I always like to hear your feedback. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, please let me know what your favorite story was that I read today. I really want to start hearing your feedback on what books you like the most. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you here on the next edition of Story Time with Robbie. Until then, toodaloo. Alrighty, everybody. The last story I'm going to read you today is Moose by Robert Munsch. Here we go. One Saturday morning, Luke woke up very, very early. He got dressed, ate a bowl of cereal, and went outside. There, standing by his tree house, was a large, enormous moose. Luke looked at it and yelled, "Moose!" Then he ran around the yard 3 times and went inside to wake up his father. His father was asleep like this. He had been on his computer till 3 in the morning. Luke said very quietly, "Daddy." He didn't wake up. Luke said a little louder, "Daddy!" He still didn't wake up. Luke yelled as loud as he could, "Daddy!" He still didn't wake up. So Luke grabbed a pillow and whacked him on the head. His father jumped out of bed and yelled, "What's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter?" "Out by my treehouse," said Luke, "is a large, enormous moose." "That is crazy," said his father. "There is no moose out by your treehouse. Moose do not come anywhere near the farm." Still, he decided to go see what was going on. He got dressed, opened up the back door, stepped outside, rubbed his eyes, opened them up, and yelled, "Moose!" That frightened the moose, and it jumped right up in the air and came down on him. Luke's father said, "Go whack it!" Luke said, "Daddy!" Luke decided to go get his mother. His mother was asleep like this. She had been watching TV till 3 in the morning. Luke said very quietly, "Mommy!" She didn't wake up. Luke said a little louder, "Mommy!" She didn't wake up. Luke yelled as loud as he could, "Mommy!" She didn't wake up. So Luke took off his hat and whacked her on the head. His mother jumped out of bed and said, "What's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter?" "Out by my treehouse," said Luke, "is a large, enormous moose." "Don't be ridiculous," said his mother. "There are no moose in our backyard. Moose do not come anywhere near the farm." Still, she decided to go see what was going on. She got dressed, opened up the back door, stepped outside, rubbed her eyes, opened them up, and yelled, "Moose!" That frightened the moose, and it jumped right up in the air and came down on her. Luke's mother said, "Gee, whack!" Luke yelled, "Mommy!" Luke wanted to get the moose off his mother. He sat down and thought for a while, and then he got an idea. He ran into the kitchen, opened the refrigerator, and got out 3 big orange carrots. He held them out the door and said, "Here, Moosey, Moosey, Moosey." The moose came over and smelled 1 carrot. Sniff, sniff, sniff. It ate the carrot. Crunch. Luke said, "I think I like this moose." The moose smelled another carrot. Sniff, sniff, sniff. The moose ate the carrot. Crunch. Luke said, "I want to keep him for a pet." The moose smelled another carrot. Sniff, sniff, sniff. The moose ate the carrot. Crunch. Luke said, "He can live in my tree house." Just then, his mother lifted her head and said, "Luke, get me a broom." "Do you mean a little broom for shooing away birdies?" said Luke. "No," said his mother. "Do you mean a medium-sized broom for shooing away bunny rabbits?" said Luke. "No," said his mother. "You don't mean a large, enormous broom for shooing away cute moosies," said Luke. "Yes," said his mother. So Luke got the large, enormous broom for shooing away cute moosies and gave it to his mom. First, Luke's mother chased the moose around the yard. Then the moose chased Luke's mother around the yard. Then the moose ate the broom. "This is not working," said Luke. "Luke," said his father, "get me a hose." "Do you mean a little hose for chasing away birdies?" said Luke. "No," said his father. "Do you mean a medium-sized hose for chasing away bunny rabbits?" said Luke. "No," said his father. "You don't mean a large, enormous hose for chasing away cute moosies," said Luke. "Yes," said his father. So Luke got the large, enormous hose for chasing away cute moosies and gave it to his father. First, Luke's father chased the moose around the yard. Then the moose chased father around the yard. Then the moose took the hose and had a wonderful bath. "This is not working," said Luke. Then Luke's 3 sisters came out of the house. Each one was holding a large, enormous squirt gun for squirting cute moosies. "That will not work," said Luke. "Moosies like water." "Yes, it will work," said his sisters. "Watch." They walked into the middle of the yard and yelled, "Hey, Moosie!" The moose turned around, saw the squirt guns, and yelled, "Hunters! That works!" said Luke. The moose ran into the kitchen, took some carrots out of the refrigerator, ran out the front door, and did not come back. "See," said Luke's sisters. Then they squirted Luke. "Squirt! Skyronk! Skyronk! Skyronk!" and went back inside. Luke said, "That was a cute moose. It can still live in my tree house." And he took the rest of the carrots out of the refrigerator and ran after it. The end. Alrighty, everybody. The third story I'm going to read you today is The Fox Factor by Tim Bugford. Here we go. Fable Fox loved to sing. He sang wherever he could, in the tub, on his bike, and even in bed. But really, he wasn't much good. He sang for his friends wherever asked to or not. And here's the funniest thing. Whatever they said went in his head as that was amazing. Every night he had the same dream. Fame would knock on his door, but every day he'd wake up to find things as they were before. Then one day he saw a sign. It said, "Come to our auditions." "I've got the Fox Factor," Fable thought. "I'll win and fulfill my ambitions." Talent show, "Come to our auditions," recorded live Saturday night, 4 a.m., Foxton Alley. Fable stood still while the judges looked stern. They asked, "What song will you do?" The judges, he said, "Wash your socks, Stinky Fox." That created a hullabaloo. The audience was lost for words. His performance was so bizarre, 1,000,000 views made Fable Fox an overnight internet star. Finally, famous Fable's life changed in fabulous ways. Glitz and glamour 24/7. This was a typical day. Wake up and have a relaxing bubble bath. Gourmet breakfast of French toast squares on sticks. Luxury spa session including brush, tint, and curl. Photo shoot for a fancy magazine. Be chased by a paparazzi while just trying to lead a normal life. Elegant dinner of fried eggs shaped like stars. And to make sure he always arrived on time, or was it just to be seen, with 16 seats and a jacuzzi, he hired a stretch limousine. Fable's life soon became all he dreamt it would be. He landed a recording contract. Stinky Fox was out on CD. At a party in his new penthouse, Fable took to the floor, surrounded by his fancy new friends. His old ones were stopped at the door. This should have been Fable's moment, a superstar truly born. But remember, Fable could not sing. He honked like an old foghorn. Watching Fable dance on stage would fill your heart with glee, but who would buy his music? Every note hit was off key. The DJ said, "We can't play that. We're sorry if this sounds rude, but it will give our listeners an earache, and none of us wants to be sued." Stinky Fox was the flop of the year. Fable's fame was at the end. He threw a party to cheer himself up and invited his VIP friends, but everyone was too busy. No one could make the trip, so Fable had a party for one, alone with his chip and dip. They took away Fable's limo and the keys to his penthouse pad. This was now Fable's typical day, gray and a little bit sad. Wake up and fall back to sleep for an hour. Boring breakfast on a very dry toast. Ordinary lunch of boring circle-shaped carrots. More nothing. Boring dinner, including some too boring even to mention, but though he didn't know it was all far from lost, his story took another twist. Now he learned what fame had cost. Walking through the streets one night, Fable heard a familiar sound. He followed the noise through the alleys and looked who he finally found. His old friends were dancing to Stinky Fox. What a terrible din. We made up this dance to remember you. We found your CD in a bin. Fable saw he had been a fool. I won fame, but lost my friends. I forgot what really mattered. How can I make amends? His friends said they would have to think, but it didn't take them long. They asked Fable Fox to join them in remaking his terrible song. The friends all worked together, each doing what they did best. The song now sounded much better, but who could have guessed the rest? Their group became a worldwide smash. Fable's famous crew. Fable rocks. So cool. And Fable learned that with friends by your side, dreams really can come true. Fab is fab. Go Fabo. L-U-V-U. Fable's famous crew. The end. Alrighty, everybody. The second story I'm going to read you today is Pine and Booth. Blast Off by Ross Barach. Here we go. Pine the porcupine and Booth the bear were out collecting rocks when oof! What is it, Pine? Pine looked at the shape. Pine looked at the color. Pine looked at the markings. Pine knew exactly what it was. An egg from outer space. It must have fallen from 1,000,000 light years away, said Pine. What do we do with it? Asked Booth. We have to take it back to its space nest before it hatches. But how do we get to space? Booth wondered. Easy, said Pine. It's not rocket science. I happen to be an expert in space travel. But first, they needed to build a rocket, our spaceship's cabin, rocket boosters, control panels, and space-grade foil. Now we can shield our ship from dangerous solar radiation, and we can pack sandwiches. I'll assemble the parts. Booth, you think of your spaceship's name. Pine wired the control panel. Booth tried thinking of a name. Pine secured the rocket boosters. Booth thought as hard as he could. Pine affixed the wings. Booth took a different approach. Pine and Booth are going to space in this rocket. It's incredible, Pine. So is the name. Very catchy. Next, Pine quickly prepared Booth for the extremes of space travel. Centrifuge, check. G-force launch speed, check. Space food consumption, check. Excellent technique. Let's take this egg home. Official space food. Quick, Booth, into the rocket. It's time for launch. Yay, launch, said Booth. No launch. We'll eat when we get there. Mission control. Pine to Booth. System check. Rocket boosters engaged, said Booth. Fuel levels full. Sandwiches wrapped. Control panel. Pine set their course. Next stop, space. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Their rocket launched down the hill. Pine and Booth are going to space in this rocket. Pine and Booth crash to a stop, and suddenly the whole cave lit up with flickering, flapping lights. Pine, look! Stars! We made it to space! But their mission was far from over. The two explorers set off in search of the egg's nest. Look, Pine, footprints! What do you think made them? Pine studied the tracks. Pine counted the toes. Pine measured the length. Pine knew exactly what made them. A space monster. It's going to get the egg. Pine, the space egg, it's hatching. But it wasn't a space monster. It was a space mummy. We did it, Pine. We're heroes. There was only one thing left to do. Fuel up for the long journey home. The next day, everyone wanted to hear about our heroic mission to space. 1,000,000 light years away. Pine showed them how to steer a rocket. I showed them how to eat space food. What technique? Who knows where we'll go tomorrow? Adventure on, Booth. The end. Alrighty, everybody. The first story I'm going to read you today is The Way Home for Wolf by Rachel Bright. Here we go. As a rainbow of lights flickered soft in the night, dusting diamonds of ice in a desert of white, the wild whipping wind, it whistled its tune to a howling of wolves and a shimmering moon. And the loudest aroo in the echoing song was a wolfing called Wilf at the heart of the throng. He loved to be fierce and longed to be grown. He liked to try everything all on his own. Look at me, I am big, I am tough, he would growl while he showed off his strength and practiced his prowl. One night, it was time for the wolves to move on. New folks had moved in and their shelter was gone, so they left right away to find a new cave. They would have to walk far and they'd have to be brave. Let's go, shouted Wilf. I'm ready to lead. You're too small, laughed the wolves. It's an elder we need. One day, they advised, you will guide from the front. I suppose, muttered Wilf with a huff and a grunt. They struggled through the snow as high as their flanks and leaped over rocks as they scaled icy banks. Wilf gave his all to keep pace and keep up, but strong-willed as he was still just a pup. As the pack journeyed farther, he kept dropping back with each clamber and climb. As the pack journeyed farther away all the time, exhausted and breathless, he strayed off the track when a blizzard blew in. And he lost his way back. Wilf longed to howl, help, and to holler it loud, but his throat was too hoarse and his heart was too proud. He lay on the tundra, his tail curled up tight, a blanket of stars was his bed for the night until crack! Went the ice. Crack and ker-eek! Ker-eek! Wilf jumped to all fours with a deafening shriek. He stuck out the claws on every limb he had to hold on because Wilfings can't swim. Then he fell, rolling and spinning. It felt like the end, but it was just the beginning. Since somebody down there had heeded his scream, and he swooped from beneath like a watery dream. "I'll help you," she called. "Just reach for my horn, a majestic and magical sea unicorn." Wilf's pride washed away, and he stretched out a paw as he lifted him gently back onto the shore. "Don't worry," she sung before dipping her brow. "My friend, Mr. Walrus, will help you out now." And there, right behind him, a huge tusky fellow lifted his whiskers and let out a bellow. To the ridge he proclaimed with his chin in the air, "My friend, mighty muskox, will take you from there." And with waftings of fish and a very loud snort, their journey was made and their travels seemed short. And there, sure enough, on the ridge was the ox, who took Wilf as far as his friend, Arctic Fox, who followed his nose through the trees to a goose, who guided him honking to this ancient moose. The moose knew these wilds like no other soul. He was steady and true in pursuit of their goal. As twilight closed in, Moose sang out a call to a fluttering, teeny fluff ball, a bear moth who showed Wilf the rest of the way to the place where this wolfing most wanted to stay. "Thank you," Wilf waved as he rejoined his pack, and the wolves howled with joy that their Wilfing was back. They huddled him in and cuddled him close, and fussed over which wolf had missed him the most. Wilf, he knew then that when all come together, the darkest of times are easy to weather. So he bowed to the Norwell, ox, walrus, and goose, and vowed to the fox, and the moth, and the moose, if I ever meet one who's strayed off their track, I'll help them along by guiding them back. And true to his word, Wilf is different now, and his world seems much smaller and warmer somehow, since wherever life takes you, wherever you roam, we're all just a handful of friendships from home. The end. Hi everyone! Welcome again to another edition of Storytime with Robbie. Hope you're all doing well today and staying healthy and having a fantastic day so far. Now for any of you who might be paying attention, I have a special new shirt to wear for a new sweater to wear for Storytime with Robbie. Special Storytime attire. It is a shirt and it has my picture on it and some with me with some books, and it says Storytime with Robbie on it. So this is what I'll be wearing now officially for the reading, and so I hope you like it. And today I'm going to be reading some more wild animal themed books as I'm trying to get that wrapped up with you so that we can start bears in a couple of editions in a few editions from now. So one thing I do want to mention though is something that I have been asking people on Storytime is I would like you to tell me on each video what your favorite story is that story was that I read to you. So please, once the video is done, when you go to comment, please let me know what your favorite book was that I read, because I want to hear your feedback. So please do that. So today I'm going to be reading The Way Home for Wolf by Rachel Bright. And I will be reading Pine and Boof Blast Off by Ross Barach. And I will be reading The Fox Factor by Tim Bugbird. And I will be reading Moose by Robert Munch. Hope you enjoy. Let's get started.